YouTube. A website that appears to be perfect for amateur filmmakers, bloggers, musicians, reviewers, and video makers. YouTube is a website that allows for anyone to create an account and share video or audio content to generate publicity, support, and even money. At first glance, this sounds pretty good, right? Wrong. After doing some serious digging and research about the copyright issues some popular YouTubers have had to face throughout the past 3 years, I had to ask myself, is the way YouTube handles its copyright issues working at all? And how is it affecting YouTube's users and their content? YouTube was created in 2005 by Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim, and was an independent site. However, in 2006, the site was bought by Google after gaining massive popularity. At first, YouTubers didn't really have to deal with copyright issues, and if they did, the issue was never a big problem. They could counter copyright claims and expect their content to be returned fairly quickly. All was going pretty well at first for both the site and its users, until the lawsuits started. Many companies, such as Viacom, believed that YouTubers were stealing their content and posting it to YouTube for people to view it for free. Admittedly, some were, and so YouTube was hit with lawsuits from copyright holders, mainly from Viacom. Viacom's lawsuit was issued in 2007 and wasn't resolved until 2010, when judges ruled in favor of YouTube. Pressure from all these companies and high-stake lawsuits forced Google and YouTube to develop a new system to handle its copyright issues and enforce copyright laws. To enforce its copyright laws, YouTube uses an automatic system called the Content ID system. Many people don't know much about how the Content ID system and YouTube copyright strike process works, but that's okay. I'ma tell you. The Content ID system is one of the laziest systems I've ever seen. There's no person working on it or overseeing it at all. It's a database that cycles through all the content on YouTube, and if it finds any frames or footage that is part of other copyrighted content, it places a copyright claim on videos that use that copyrighted content. Copyright claims prevent a video from running ads and thus from making any money. A claim can be made manually as well if the Content ID system hasn't already matched content. All the money the video makes after that copyright claim is ensued then goes to the copyright holder whose content was in the video. This may sound fair at first when you think about YouTubers that blatantly break copyright laws, but it really isn't at all if you look into it. Some of the content that receives copyright claims doesn't really violate fair use at all. That's because the Content ID system can't recognize what is fair use or not. It just shoots first and asks questions later by taking down anything that it matches up. When an original copyright claim is put on the video, the YouTuber can then file a dispute for the claim to be removed on their video. The copyright holder then has 30 days to either remove the claim from the video or reinstate it. If they decide to be a bunch of assholes and reinstate their claim, then you have to file for an appeal to that claim. Appeals kind of suck though, because you can only have 3 appeals running at once, so if you have 10 videos with copyright claims on them, you're kind of screwed. If the copyright holder still doesn't want to give up, then they can go further and issue a copyright strike, also known as a takedown notice. Takedown notices can completely screw with your channel, because if you have one on one of your videos, then you can't file for any more appeals. If you have 3 copyright strikes filed against you at once, your account will be terminated. However, if the situation escalates to a takedown notice, there is still one more step you can take. By issuing a counter notification on the copyright strike, which is pretty much the same damn thing you did twice before, you're bluffing companies to take the next step. Legal action. 99% of the time, they won't do that if your video is generally abiding by fair use. Fair use of copyrighted content would be for transformative purpose, such as to comment upon, criticize, or parody a copyrighted work. The point is though, the process of trying to get copyright claims off of your videos can take as long as 3 months, which is completely fucking ridiculous. 30 days to respond to disputes, appeals, and counter notifications is way too long of a time. And while you may think it's a fair amount of time for these busy companies to handle the claims they put out, it's also letting them mess with the livelihood of YouTube users. A typical video gets the majority of its views in the first 3 days after it is uploaded, so when a strike or claim is put on a video by a copyright holder, all the potential profit of that video is either lost or transferred over to that copyright holder. The system is way too favoring to copyright holders as well, as it enables them to place false claims on videos with almost no repercussions. All they gotta do when submitting a takedown notice is to fill out some personal information, state that they're the copyright holder, and give some generic reason for placing their strike, and huzzah, they're good to go. There's no investigation process either. Content gets taken down immediately once a strike is installed. The extreme easiness to submit these copyright claims and takedown notices has allowed for several major YouTube stars who follow fair use policy to be outright abused by the Content ID system and the corporations manipulating it. Back in the year 2013, the YouTuber Angry Joe was faced with one of the biggest copyright struggles I've ever seen. For those of you who don't know what Angry Joe does, he runs a show called The Angry Joe Show, where he does reviews, interviews, and previews about newly released video games. Most of his videos contain copyrighted content, however, they are used for the purposes of review and parody, which qualifies for fair use. This didn't stop the Content ID system from picking apart his videos, though.
Over 62 of my videos are now flagged. Ironically, most of the ones that are 1 million views or more, yeah, gotta have a piece of those, by publishers, various companies I've never even heard of.
Out of nowhere, Joe had 62 copyright claims slapped onto his account. Some of these claims were made by the corporations themselves, but most of them were automatically made by the Content ID database without even consulting the companies that made the content it detected.
Even the publishers are saying they're not submitting claims. There are publishers that are saying, we're not submitting those claims yet. A bunch of claims. I bet you the Tomb Raider people, they're not submitting those claims. It's the Content ID system that's doing it for them.
He had never dealt with copyright claims and strikes before, and he had no idea how to fight them. YouTube was also the way he earned a living, so all these claims were messing with his business in a whole number of ways.
We have no power. We have no power to fight. Who do I go to? Who? It's a Content ID system. It's a fucking robot. Nobody at YouTube gives me a fucking email.
Incidents like these just go to show how the Content ID system doesn't recognize copyright laws at all. It's just a quick slap-together robot, and the fact that he could only fight 3 of these claims at a time meant that he would be stuck with this issue for a very long time, and the videos affected would make very little revenue at all. Thankfully for Joe, most of the copyright claims were made automatically by the Content ID system, and the companies associated with those claims removed them, because they didn't even want to submit those claims in the first place.
I'm having these problems, but I've already been around for a while. How the hell is somebody new? How the hell is the next reviewer, online reviewer, supposed to come up? And from here forward, because I haven't uploaded a review since this went into effect, if I upload a review and I can't fucking upload it, I can't earn revenue off it, I have to stop my show.
So now you may be thinking, okay, so it's the Content ID system's automatic claims that are creating most of the problems, right? Well, that's only part of it. Because it's so easy to submit copyright strikes, literally all you have to do is have any relation to certain content and enter some minor legal information onto an online form. Virtually any company or content creator with any sort of power outside of YouTube is able to submit a bullshit claim with virtually no legal repercussions. A couple of copyright holders have figured this out and have taken full advantage of YouTube's copyright system to either steal the monetization from YouTubers' content or shun the negative reviews and personal attacks of some YouTubers. Just look at what happened to the YouTuber Jim Sterling back in 2014. Jim Sterling's content is very similar to Angry Joe's. He's a video game journalist. In 2014, Jim posted a first impressions video where he played and analyzed an indie game called The Slaughtering Grounds. To make a long story short, Jim found that the game had tons of errors ranging from poor graphics to bad mechanics. It was pretty shit. Now, even though his video was a review and qualified as fair use, the game's developer didn't care. All he saw was a review that negatively reflected his video game, and so he thought it would be a good idea to file a false copyright strike against Jim's video and even personally attack him.
The morning after I published my video on the slaughtering grounds, I was alerted by several viewers that developer Imminent Uprising had responded in what it claimed to be the first of a new series of videos, Review the Reviewers. The video, for its part, was a full re-uploading of my own recording, albeit with bitter text overlays sarcastically speaking as me, noting multiple times that I was a fucking idiot.
The developer re-uploaded Jim's video with subtitles that mocked Jim and basically said that he had no credibility and was a total moron. The developer's shady antics continued onto other critics as well, as they began shunning negative reviews on the game's forums.
And it was of course discovered that Imminent Uprising was censoring negative feedback, as well as banning anybody who had anything bad to say about the game or its creator.
It just feels like developers like this are taking a piss at YouTubers. Censoring videos does a whole number of things that messes with YouTubers. By censoring negative reviews, this developer is hurting Jim's livelihood as he loses potential profit on his first impressions video of the game. It's also very intimidating for an amateur content creator to deal with harassment like this, and most YouTubers would probably be discouraged from making content as a result of this censorship. Luckily, Jim handled the situation very well and had a voice. Also, this censorship is hurting gamers as well. People who can't see Jim's review will never see the game or reviews on it, and may end up wasting their money on a crappy, half-assed game they'll later regret buying. I mean, come on, you saw that game. I'd rather go play Super Mario Sunshine on my GameCube than buy that piece of garbage. Incidents like these still haven't been stopped, though. Recently in November, the YouTuber I Hate Everything, also known as Alex, published a review for a movie called Cool Cat Saves the Kids in a series called Search for the Worst. The review focused on the many flaws of the movie, and unfortunately, the honesty of his review is what led to the storm that followed.
Oh, what's this? Cool! Copyright strike, not cool!
The video's down, everybody. Cool Cat Saves the Kids, Search for the Worst, my latest video, my latest effort.
Derek Savage, the director of the Cool Cat movie, just didn't want the flaws of his movie to be heard. He decided to start placing copyright strikes on all of I Hate Everything's Cool Cat videos. Like Angry Joe, Alex had no idea what to do in response to these claims, as he never needed to fight any before. So he posted 2 new videos expressing his displeasure and seeking help from the YouTube community.
So I can submit a counter notification or do something. I really don't know what I should do here. If I should just... I don't know. I just don't know what to do.
Derek Savage began receiving negative publicity from the YouTube community for abusing the YouTube copyright system. And what was Derek's response to this?
Well, over the past couple of days, I have been bullied, harassed, and threatened by Derek Savage through emails. I also see that you have copyright infringed numerous other films, and I know a lot of producers in Hollywood, so I'll be sharing with them on how to file a copyright claim against you and your YouTube channel. Your 2nd and 3rd strike is about to come on you real quickly. I'll also make sure that the 4th and 5th hit you too. Derek Savage.
Although it's wrong for copyright holders like Derek Savage to manipulate copyright laws in order to censor negative opinions of their content, it's still pretty ridiculous that YouTube's system hasn't been altered and still allows for this manipulation to occur. The copyright strikes and harassment that Alex received gave him hell in a number of ways. He had to temporarily stop his series, Search for the Worst, and almost stop his YouTube channel altogether. He had almost been completely discouraged from YouTube out of fear of being sued. Leaving YouTube would have meant losing a source of income since he relied on the money he earned off his videos. Alex, as well as Jim and Joe, has spent years building the credibility and fan base on his channel through hard work and genuine dedication. So if that's the case, why are illegal copyright strikes the reward he gets for all the time and effort he put into his content? And what let this despicable mess occur? YouTube's copyright system. Yay! From looking at the history of YouTube's Content ID system and discovering how copyright issues have been handled on YouTube, I've come to this conclusion. YouTube's copyright system isn't broken at all. In fact, it's perfect. No, I'm kidding. It's broken. It's completely fucking broken. And I'm not just hating on YouTube, though. In all honesty, I love the site. I use it every day. But in its current state, the site feels broken in some aspects and unfair to YouTube users making their amateur content. The Content ID system has created copyright issues among YouTubers that damage their livelihood and discourage them from continuing to make more content. What YouTube needs to realize is that its users are making YouTube money by running ads on their videos through partnerships. So maybe YouTube should start thinking about showing its users some, I don't know, respect? The Content ID system doesn't distinguish copyrighted content as being under fair use or not at all. It needs to be removed completely and replaced with literally anything else. Also, it would really help if the shoot first, ask questions later nature of the copyright claiming system was changed as well. By taking down copyrighted claimed videos as soon as the claims are administered, YouTube is pretty much branding its users as guilty before proven innocent, which is completely unfair and disrespectful. What would be helpful is if YouTube created its own separate branch of actual employees to deal specifically with copyrighted claims and strikes. However, whether YouTube will ever change their current Content ID and copyright system is unknown. We'll just have to wait and see. Along with waiting 3 months for our YouTube copyright strikes to finally be over with, for the love of...